Welcome back to Breaking Down Breeze Boys podcast. Today we got a very special episode. We're adding two new members to the team, Jake and Nolan. So if you guys want to say what's up.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Nolan. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for letting me join the team. I appreciate it. I really love Notre Dame a lot. What started it all was my uncle played baseball there in '87, and it's been in my family ever since then. So I'm just going along with the family, and I'm so happy to be able to cheer for such a great university and work for them too. So. One of my favorite players is Prentice Hub. I just love how the man carries himself, and he does great, works his tail off, and I am so excited for the future of him.
Now on to what you got to say.
Is it me up now?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jake. For me, being having family ties to Notre Dame, being a fan of the football team was not really much of a choice. And the next step was to Notre Dame basketball. So kind of grew out of that. So that's why I'm a Notre Dame fan. I'd say I love the whole 2018 class, the starters and Robbie, but I would say my favorite was probably Dane Goodwin. I love his talent. I love the way he shoots the ball, and I look forward to seeing how he does as an upperclassman. But I love Prentice and Nate as well.
Just in case you guys didn't know, my favorite, Rex Pfluger. I had the same situation as Jake. I was born into it. So, yeah. Now on to viewer questions. The first one I'll be answering. It's from Jeff Moore on Twitter. Potential depth chart and predictions for how we do next year. This is assuming Trey Wirtz is not eligible, which I don't know if he will be or not. This is the starting five. I'm going to say Prentice Hubb's the point guard. Dane Goodwin's the shooting guard. Cormac Ryan will play some wing spot. Nate Laszewski will be the power forward, and Juwan Durham's the center. My sixth man's Robbie Carmody. Seventh is Elijah Taylor. Eighth is Tony Sanders, and I don't really think Matt Zona, Nick Jogo, or Elijah Morgan will get much playing time. And my prediction is I think we'll be a borderline tournament team, depending on how Cormac Ryan is. You guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, personally, I think Zona will get some playing time behind Durham because he's a big body. That's what we need. He's gonna be replacing the Mooney spot, which is a hard spot to replace. But I think he'll start getting some minutes freshman year, and then growing, he will end up to be the Mooney of Notre Dame, and the sky's the limit for him. He's what we need.
Jake, what are your thoughts about what I said?
I tend to agree. I think they'll go with that starting lineup. I think I agree. It's Carmody sixth man, Taylor seventh man, Sanders eighth man, but really anything is possible. I mean, a lot of us thought Nate was going to start last year, and and it ended up being Juwan. I think the shuffling that would happen would probably be on the bench. I mean, the thing to keep in mind with Carmody is he's only played one ACC game ever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's only one more than Durham or Taylor. I mean, heck, Elijah Morgan's played more ACC games than him. So, I mean, it's not a great situation to be on depth, but they're stuck between a rock and a hard place between trying to improve that. Like, where can you really go? I'm going to get a grad transfer. Well, if you're going to get one that sits on the bench, it's probably not going to be a good one. So you better off going with the Taylors and the Sanders. I think after that is Taylor. I think he brings a lot of athleticism that even in the better years you didn't see a lot of it at Notre Dame. So that's a welcome change. Sanders is a very skilled player, so I think he's eighth man. After that, it's hard to really tell. I think it doesn't really matter, but I think Jogo would probably be the ninth man. Zona would be the 10th man. I mean, maybe he red shirts. I doubt it. And then Elijah Morgan is the 11th man. I mean, I don't know if anybody knows this, but I mean, he got a D1 offer. It wasn't a high one, but it was from Southeast Louisiana. But it's not like he's just a warm body. I mean, he has some skills. Is he ever going to be a starting ACC guard? I mean, that's a different story. And I mean, I'm not banking on it, and I don't know if it'll happen. But he's a nice guy to have around. Cool to have. He's on an academic scholarship as well, which I don't know. I mean, that comes around all the time, but that's what I think the depth will be.
Now, if Wirtz is eligible, do you guys think he has the starting spot?
I mean, I might even put him over Cormac, to be honest, but I think they go 4 round 1 if
Okay.
he's eligible. So, I don't know how much I love that with Nate being the 5, but maybe he's ready for that. I don't know if they have the guys right now to do that, but I mean, it's certainly a possibility. But I love the skills. I love the talent. What Wirtz brings to the table.
I think Wirtz could start. I think he definitely has the talent too. I just don't know if Mike Bray's comfortable not starting Dane Goodwin this far along in his career. That might be a little bit of bias though, because Trey Wirtz is my favorite Notre Dame player now because he came on and did that interview. Quick plug, Wirtz interview. But yeah, I think he definitely has the talent, the scoring ability, the length. What do you think, Nolan?
I mean, I think it's going to be hard for him to start over Dane. Dane had a great year. I don't know if he'll start if he's eligible. It's really like Nick, like he said. It's hard to tell. Nobody knows till comes crunch time. So
The thing about Wirtz compared to Goodwin is what is Goodwin's ceiling? Like it seems like Wirtz has a lot higher ceiling, and in a couple of years he can contribute a lot more if he's getting minutes now, compared to Goodwin, who's kind of just a spot up shooter.
Well, what do you see as Goodwin's ceiling?
I think Steve Astoria, that kind of guy, kind of a
I mean,
spot up shooter,
well, didn't Bray compare Cormac to Vastoria?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was kind of like a Vastoria and a Chris Quinn kind of type of player. But I think if Wirtz were to start and they were to stay with 2 bigs, I mean, I think it would be in place of Cormac Ryan, to be honest, because I mean, if you want to say like, okay, Wirtz has not proved himself in a major conference, well, he's proved himself in a conference. I don't know where Cormac Ryan has. I mean, I think he's going to do great for us, but he did kind of have a rough year, even through injury as a freshman, which is fine, of course. I mean, we saw what happened in 2018 with us, but I'd have to think if Wirtz starts, it's over Cormac Ryan, not over Goodwin.
I agree.
I don't know. I'm a big Cormac Ryan guy, but I don't know.
I mean, I am too, but I mean, I'm
a big everybody guy for Notre Dame.
guys.
So.
All right. On to the second question. This is from David Barnett. On next year's roster, which guy will be the leader? We all know last year it was Rex. Who takes over?
I think the rising juniors will take the lead. It's a pretty young team for the most part, and I think Mike Bray will call upon them and to be leaders, just like Pfluger, Mooney, and the Gibbs class were. And I mean, that's how I see it. Prentice is going to be a great leader, and Notre Dame basketball's chemistry is second to none. I believe they all love each other. You could just tell that.
Yeah, I think it would be them together, not as individuals, but collectively. I mean, with 5th year with Durham, I mean, I don't know how this impacts him as a leader, but he seems like a very laid-back, timid dude.
Quiet, yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and I think Nate's in that way as well. I know, I mean, Tom's said it. He's a very timid guy. I mean, Jogo's been there since 2016, so maybe that could provide it. I mean, he's the only guy on the roster that's played in the postseason for Notre Dame, and the only guy who's there for a tournament run. So, I mean, that could provide it. I mean, he's seen a lot, but I think it's going to be more of a collective leadership than somebody like Rex and Mooney last year.
That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all to have.
No, I think it's better.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Everybody knows their roles.
Jogo or the guys he's looking to, especially because they won't be able to be here next year and do what Prentice and Dane and Nate can do. So this one's for Jake from Dave Petroziello. I don't know how to say his last name. Sorry. I think one of you guys do, though. Any word on how Carmody's progressing? I think people are sleeping on how good he is.
So I read in, I think he was in one of Tom's like ND Notre Dame basketball chats. Somebody asked that. He says, back then it was kind of in the early stages, and really with an ACL injury, he tore it not even 4 months ago. So you're kind of still in the early stages. I know. So about the same time, 2 weeks earlier than Rex tore it in 2018. So we're still looking at 7 months away from him. We're still looking at 6 months away from him. 5 to 6 months away from him practicing or whatever. So he said it's been going good. He was that's what Tom said. He was going to sit down and chat with him, but I think things went south at that point in the season in January, and I forget why, but it was they didn't really want to do the interview anymore, so we didn't really have that. But that's what Carmody adds to the table. I mean, he can attack the basket well. I mean, he's a fearless guy. I mean, we don't really have that, and that can really help living and dying by the three. For him to be able to draw defenders in there to set up open threes, I mean, that's huge for us. I mean, we really need that. And it looks like our sixth man. So, I mean, I think Carmody, outside of Cormac Ryan, is, I think, one of the most crucial players that we need to see something more out of in the next season.
We're not insiders, obviously, but when I was seeing them at Clemson, that was one of the first games he traveled to. And when I was at the tunnel, he jumped up and high-fived me. I don't think he's supposed to do that, but that shows that it's going well. Once he starts traveling with the team, that's always a good sign. But the problem is, even when Rex got healthy, you could tell for pretty much the entire season he wasn't 100%. It seemed like he re-aggravated almost every game. So hopefully that doesn't happen with Robbie.
Well, with regards to what you said, I don't know if you've seen the video, but in the UNC game when Nate hit the three, you saw him there was a video of him. He was jumping up and down. He looked as happy as Nate. I mean, maybe even happier than Nate. So that's a great sign. With regards to what the future holds for Carmody, I think if you look a couple of years ahead, it's a bit unclear where the path to a starting role is with Wirtz now in the mix. Now, having 4 more years of eligibility could help that. So I try to map out our future depth charts in a spreadsheet. It doesn't even get there for a few years. I mean, he doesn't really have a path to starting, so you kind of have to wonder how it plays out. But he seems like a good kid, so I'm not too worried about him, and I like what he brings to the table.
Nolan, you got anything?
Like I said, man, teammate chemistry. He said Carmody was just as excited as Nate, and I mean that just shows that the team wants to succeed. They don't care about individual stats. I mean, I think this team is second to none. And like I said, with chemistry, and they all want to play for each other to win. They're not worried about how many points somebody has, how many rebounds somebody has. They're worried about getting the job done. Man, I know we came up short a bunch of times this year, like very short a bunch of times, but I think that can change. And with 1 or 2 possessions, we win 5 or 6 more games, you know.
So this, oh, go ahead.
Okay.
This one's kind of for all of us. This is from Kyle at Irish Mockery. After a disappointing year, do you like the direction the program is headed moving forward? The ball literally did not bounce our way this past season. Blew many leads and just did not win the games I felt we should have. Anybody?
Well, I kind of agree with that, but if we're being honest, you can also look at some of the wins. I think UNC. I don't know if that was. I think BC was. I think we can all agree we escaped there in Chestnut Hill. I mean, we now BC at home was a terrible loss. It's hard to think between all of those losses and 2018 in Bonzi last year. I mean, what could have been? There's a lot of those with Notre Dame basketball, but I mean, with regards to the futures program, I like it, but I'm not gonna crown them as headed towards glory or anything. I like the direction, but with an asterisk of they still have to prove it. I think I love what the 2018 class grow as upperclassmen. You're adding Cormac, you're adding Wart, you're adding Carmody effectively. But we all know losing Mooney is obviously is going to make us. It's hard to come back from, and I think everybody knows what Rex brings: leadership and defending and basketball skill. But I think what people, I don't know if people really realize how big TJ is going to be a miss. I mean, the guy was probably the best point shooter in ACC play last year. I mean, that for a team that is such a three-pointer team, I mean, that's a big miss. But I think that we should be able to offset that. I think if Wards is eligible, I think they're a tournament team. But I think there has to be a point where you ask, is the bar making the tournament after what we saw from 2015 to 2017? You might want it to be higher. But I like the direction. So.
Do you guys think Juwan can replace Mooney's spot? Do you think he's physical enough?
No.
I would say no.
I don't either. But I mean, he can always surprise us. Yeah. Juwan works hard too,
No, I like Juwan, but I mean, he's not even in the same. He's not even like the same type of player. I think and I don't think Nate is either, but I think Nate would be more likely. Zona is kind of a Mooney, but can shoot it more. It doesn't play above the rim, but he's outside of that. I think he's more in a Mooney mold. I don't think you can really just replace Mooney, but you can get production elsewhere.
That's why I think Zona will play a little bit because he's the closest thing we have to replacing Mooney.
In regards to the question, I was thinking part of the reason this season was so disappointing and the reason we lost some of those close games is because we faded down the stretch because of our lack of depth. We only had a 7-man rotation. Now, I think we have one more body on the roster as of now, which will definitely help. And in regards to, I think 2021, 2022 will be maybe our year. The best this team's going to be with all the rising juniors, the seniors. We're going to have Trey Wirtz eligible for sure. J.R. Kineski is going to be here. Maybe Blake Wesley will be here. That team's going to be really deep. It's going to have a lot of scoring. So I think if you're looking down the road, that's the team to look at. But, yeah.
I kind of look at Notre Dame football in the same way. To be honest, I think 2020 will be a successful year. But I don't want to go off from the basketball team, but I think both of them are really going to reach their peak 21-22.
Hey, you guys
But
know football is my specialty, but that 2021 football class, man, that's not something to joke about. That's the real deal right there, and it just keeps climbing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get off of football talk, but I think when Buchner gets in there, and I like Book, but I think they're a bit limited with him. Buchner gets in there, they're going to be great. But this is a basketball podcast, so let's get back to that. I think I agree. 2021 is going to be a great year, and I think 2020 is going to be a fun year. I'd love to get back in the tournament. I love March basketball. I've been itching for it. It's going to be 4 years without it, and that honestly that kind of sucks. It really does. But I guess that's part of sports. You stick with the bad times, so the good times are even better. You know.
Mhm. So the last question we have two others that we're gonna hold. This one's from Mark Kurz. Does Coach Bray plan on recruiting any bigs for the 21-22 season? Quite a long jam. It's a three position. Nate Nate plays a Nate plays like a three, and the only bigs are Taylor and Zona. Before we answer this, I'm gonna say we don't have inside information on this.
Yeah, I was gonna say all we can do is speculate. The only close inside information is that Notre Dame reached out to Colin Castleton. So, but honestly, like if we got him, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. It's not like Wirtz.
Exactly.
Like if you look at stats, I mean, he couldn't even make an impact at Michigan in the second year. I mean, I'm not knocking the guy, so I'd be happy to have him because you could better be safe than sorry. But I mean, you'd have to think so. If the 2022 class or the 2020 class or the 2020 class was big orientated, then you'd have to think the 2022 class is to be depth for those guys. So I mean, you'd have to think so, but I think if you want a real answer, you're gonna have to ask Bray himself, and I don't know if you're gonna get an answer, but I would think, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I've heard we aren't aggressively pursuing Colin Castleton. He hasn't even put out a final list though, so we have absolutely no idea. I think it's going to be really tough this year to get somebody who's eligible because Jawan Durham is probably the unquestioned starter unless there's somebody crazy that comes in. So we're going to have to look at somebody next year or like a grad transfer next year or a transfer who's not eligible this year. I know Castleton wouldn't be eligible unless that thing got passed. But Nolan, you got any thoughts on
I'm a little
I'm with Jake on all
surprised they
that,
didn't.
man.
I'm a little surprised they didn't reach out to what's his name from Purdue,
Matt Harms,
Matt
I
Harms.
know, man. I wish they would have. That's a good big man.
But it's Juwan's spot to lose. It would have been nice to have Hunter Dickinson. That kind of sucked, but it is what it is. I'm excited to have Matt here. Um, although, from what I hear, he's not. He's closer to a stretch than a real center.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't be opposed to adding a center.
That's what we need. We need a good center.
the thing I've heard about Matt Zona? I don't know how true this is, but he might not be ready this year because he's just so freaking slow. People are saying he's not quick on his feet, and I kind of agree. But his ability, huh?
Go ahead.
His ability to shoot can get him playing time no matter anywhere. So, yeah.
I watched the video, but take this with a grain of salt since I'm not a scout or anything. But he kind of did look pretty raw. So redshirting him isn't something I'm against, especially if Wirtz gets in and they move to kind of more of a 4-round one. I would not be opposed to redshirting Zona because he just looks so raw, but he has the talent to make up for it. So that's where I stand on him.
So that's all the questions we have today. We have a couple extras, but those are going to take a really long time to answer. So I think we cut it here. What do you guys think?
Yep. Sounds good to me, man.
Yep, sounds good. Good
All
to have our first go of it.
Hmm.
And
So if you guys are still here, thank you guys for watching. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. Recording cut right there. I think I either accidentally ended it or Zoom thought it was too short or too long of a recording. But I got the video, obviously. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe or leave a like or whatever. Let us know what you think. We'll have a ton more videos coming. We have a lot more planned. So thank you guys for watching. Follow Nolan and Jake on Twitter. I'll put their links in the description. And talk to you later. Peace.